What's happening, everybody? How y'all making out today, tonight, whatever it is, whatever time zone you're at, whatever's going on outside your house with the sun and the darkness and whatever the hell else is going on. Today, my guest is an awesome drummer and a crazy-ass band that I saw recently and have seen previously as well, and they've always blown my mind. That drummer would be Larry Kwartowitz, who plays in the one and only Cleric. I guess you could describe as an avant-metal / noisy, semi-ethereal metal quartet, or something like that. At least that's kind of my description of it. But we talk about their new record, Retrocausal, which was put out on Trey Spruance's Web of Mimicry label. Trey Spruance, of course, of Mr. Bungle, who we talked about and geeked out about their tour for the California record, which we both saw and both had our minds blown by. And Cleric had done some touring with Secret Chiefs 3, Trey's other band, which ultimately led to that connection. So we talk a little bit about that, talk about Larry battling Crohn's disease, we get into a little Pearl Jam geek out, believe it or not. And, Larry's superhuman ability to eat large quantities of weed edibles. That shit is impressive. Shout out to my sponsor, New Orleans Record Press. Go on over to NewOrleansRecordPress.com if you're looking to put out vinyl for your project. You can get all kinds of cool album patterns, get real-time quotes and packaging, mastering options, and the whole bit. So go check them out, NewOrleansRecordPress.com. Put that out on vinyl, y'all. Put that shit out. So without further ado, here we go. Larry Kwartowitz, Cleric, y'all. Crash, bang, boom.
Crowds go mad with joy.
All right, I'm here with Larry Kwartowitz. Did I get it right?
Oh yeah.
All right,
that was
see,
good.
not Kowalkiewicz.
No, I would be fine with that though if that were the case. I actually played in Mexico at one time. The guy, a guy I played with actually in another band. I think he said Larry Korvic, and then I was like, telling him what it was from across the room, and he's like, "Oh no, Korvic, yeah, Korvic."
How about Cervix?
Cervix, that works, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, Kwartowitz, you got it.
All right, thank you, man. Well, thanks for catching up with me. I'm looking forward to seeing you playing with your band tonight, Cleric.
Nice.
I haven't seen y'all in quite some time. Last time I saw you was at the Grand Victory, and I'm trying to remember who y'all played with.
That was a great show.
Was that with Torrential Downpour, possibly?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It definitely was, and that was a great night. That was a while ago, and
probably 3 plus years ago.
I think more maybe, because I think that was the night that we met, that was the night that we really met John Zorn. He came to see us at that show.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that was when we talked for like an hour outside, and he was like asking us how we write and everything, because we knew he was coming because I'd met him at a show, and I'd heard that he was a fan of ours.
Really?
So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go have a little chat with him, So I went to see Moonchild play. And afterwards, I got to talk to him right before he jumped into a cab.
Really?
He was trying to run away from all the fans, and I was like, "Hey, Mr. Zorn, it's Larry from Cleric." And he turned around and was like, "Cleric, where?" And he's like, "I'm like right here." And he's like, "Oh my god!" And then we talked for 10 minutes, and he's like, "When are you playing?" And I said, "We're actually playing. We're playing at Grand Victory." And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna come." And I think he said to write to him, and I told him the info, and we put him on the list and everything. And he came, and that was nice that we got to talk to him, because after that he offered us the opportunity to do the one Masada track at Town Hall.
Whoa!
When he was doing new stuff for the Book of Mariah, he had a bunch of bands, each doing one track, and we did the one track, and then he said he wanted to do a whole album or hear a whole album of our stuff. So I guess, yeah. And the funny thing is, we found out recently that he did an interview recently where he said that he was gonna do one song per band, I think,
Uh-huh.
to release the new songs.
Oh, wow.
And then after that show, he was like, I need to hear a whole album of Cleric. So he's like, maybe I should rethink this and get a whole album of everybody. And it's like, and then he realized it would be much more cost efficient and I guess better practically in other ways too. So it was nice to influence him a little bit. Yeah.
Man, speaking of John Zorn, one of my other interview subjects is a buddy of mine, Kenny Grahowski, who done
awesome.
quite a few John Zorn projects, played with Secret Chiefs 3, etc.
One of the nicest guys.
Yeah,
in the
and
world.
a fucking drum slayer for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, one
but
of the best.
It was so wild talking to him, having worked with John Zorn and played John Zorn's material, and the whole idea that John Zorn writes material that people are playing everywhere, but he's not only is he not in the band playing the said material, but he's not even present for the show. So it's just this hermit, crazy, genius writing material for bands to play his material
Sent it out
everywhere.
there, to the world.
I know. I hope they
yeah.
record it and send it to him, but I'm sure at some point he's just like, I hope that went well. You know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that. I'm pretty sure they send. Well, at least the recordings. I don't know about the live, not the live shows. Maybe. I mean, some live shows I know we've played that he won't hear. It was just for the people there, and it's like, they went well. But like we played one Masada show on this tour that we just did.
Did y'all do? And y'all did a bunch of Masada material?
Yeah, we did like 5 tracks, I think, from the record that we did, which is 9 tracks.
I didn't realize that y'all were in on this. So you're okay.
Yeah, so it's coming out, I think, in May, as part of like a box set with like 10 discs, I think.
And how many bands total?
10 bands.
10 bands?
I guess 10 bands on that one, yeah.
One band per disc, each performing music that John Zorn wrote.
Yeah.
For Masada.
Secret Chiefs 3 has one, and I think Abraxas maybe with Kenny Grahowski.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. They played at the Town Hall show, and so did Secret Chiefs 3, and I think they're 2 of the bands that have albums coming out.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then I think next year you'll be able to get it like on its own, like just as a record. But in May, it's part of this box set. So
this is
cool,
an interesting.
exciting.
It's an interesting full circle because I also interviewed Pejman, who played with Secret Chiefs 3.
Yeah.
So now you're the third person that's actually
so
sort
funny.
of worked either sort of vicariously via Trey Spruance, John Zorn.
And the way I met Kenny was when he was playing in Secret Chiefs 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when we toured together. I got to know him, and
did Cleric
we
go out?
Really got along.
Cleric went out with Secret Chiefs 3.
Yeah, for a short tour, we did some of the U.S. and some of Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, that was great. That was like a couple of years ago, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
This is wild.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It was all after Dan, our new bassist, Dan Kennedy, joined the band like a few years ago, and after we took a little break.
Yeah.
And after he joined, we did so much stuff. Like we did one tour, like right away with like I think Behold the Octopus.
Cool.
And that was, I think, it was like around and then around that time, was the Grand Victory thing, and then we did the tour with Secret Chiefs, and then we recorded the new record.
Yeah.
So he had to learn all the stuff for the tour, and then he had to learn the stuff we were writing and write parts to it too.
Right.
So it's like in his style. So he did a lot of stuff. So he kind of helped us like spring forward,
Yeah.
Jump ahead, I guess.
Holy shit, man.
So that was fun. Yeah.
Since y'all put out Regressions, which I guess was about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 7.5, something like that.
Yeah, I think, just about.
What were y'all doing in the interim
About
there
8.
for 7.5 years?
7.5. Let's see. A few funny things. Let's see. What happened? Because, tragedy plus time is comedy for me. But
Right.
yeah, no, it's, it was, one thing that happened was we actually lost a bunch of equipment because somebody stole equipment out of our van or our trailer, van/trailer.
While you were out on a tour?
While we were actually like home, I think, when it happened. But it was crazy.
Shitty nonetheless, but it would have
our-
been worse, I imagine. And it would only add insult to injury had you been out on a tour.
Oh, yeah. That would have been nuts. It might have been like right after a tour, like the end of a tour, and then we were playing at home.
Your drum set, everything was jacked?
They didn't get my whole drum set. They got like little things that I had to replace. But it was much worse for the other guys. Like they lost everything, and only 2 of us had like insurance, like theft insurance. Like me and the guitarist had some, and So it took us. I mean, we even had to have like a crowd, funding thing to like get
Holy
some money
shit.
back to get all the equipment. So that was like a year at least of just not having equipment. So we couldn't really play shows or record, and we were just kind of writing slowly for
Yeah.
the new record, and then that was one thing.
Right,
And
that's a big
then-
thing.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
In the grand scheme of things, like just when I think about criminal activity, I would say
Yeah.
the low-life cunts that steal musicians'
Oh, yeah,
equipment
man.
are the absolute
yeah.
bottom of the barrel, and anything
Yeah.
that could be god-awful that happens to them, I
Yeah.
hope it fucking happens to them.
I know.
Fuck each and every
Dude,
one
you're,
of them.
You're fucking right, man. Because
Fuck 'em.
it's really funny. I didn't say anything about this yet, but last night we played in Providence, and I had a great time. I loved Providence.
Yeah.
I loved a lot of things about it.
Yeah.
And the people were really cool. But at one point, I definitely heard a story about someone who knew a local band that they just like go to other bands' vans and take the stuff. They think it's like some kind of code, like I believe, there's a code with like weed. If you like leave weed around, someone's allowed to take it if
Yes.
they find it, like another stoner.
Yeah, but that's
like,
not band
that's a
equipment,
code.
motherfuckers.
Band equipment has no code. No, that belongs to who fucking owns it. So I was like, wait a minute, that's fucked up, man. I didn't even say anything because I was like, what? I think my brain
hard to
like
even
couldn't
imagine.
really comprehend it. And it's like because usually bands are like, very. Like they embrace the camaraderie that happens when you meet other bands because they're a band themselves of comrades, and they all have to work as a unit, so they should know to work with other bands, and it's really the only way to get booked and
Right.
have a good time out there.
Well,
and,
fuck
like, is
those
networking.
sociopathic
So there's
bitches.
certain people that are like competitive that you meet, and you're like, you don't get it, man. You're not gonna make it, like
Right.
touring and stuff. So anyway, that's one of them, and another thing is right before this tour, our van got stolen.
Come on.
Yeah, and
What the fuck, man? Is this all happening in Philly?
Maybe. I think the first one was New York, and the second one was definitely Philly. But
Wow.
or Camden actually. But yeah, right outside of Philly. And it was luckily we didn't, lose any equipment this time. So for us, it was like, well, we have to just rent a van. I mean, we're not going to cancel any dates. So
Right.
what do? We just have to. We won't buy a new one yet. We'll just rent one for the trip, and it's okay. We're gonna figure it out.
Dude, if your van got stolen with your equipment in it for a second time,
Oh my God, yeah, I think we
come
would
on.
freak out.
Might need to switch some things up in life.
Yeah, at least location-wise, something's up. So yeah, I'm like, it's okay. It was like, it was some weird story. Like the mechanic was out working on it for the tour, and it got like stolen while he parked it somewhere. I don't know where he parked it.
Does that make him partially responsible for it?
Yeah, I mean, he's a nice guy, so he said he was going to help us, with
Yeah.
pay for the new one. I'm sure he could find a new van because he's a mechanic too,
Right.
so he knows people. So,
Yeah.
and he knows what type it is and everything. So that's good. And so we're just happy that from past experience that we're like, oh, well, at least our equipment is okay.
Yeah.
Then it would be really bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was some of the things that happened in that 7.5 year interim.
That's one thing. Yeah, there were a couple others. I mean, one, we had to switch bassists, and that
Right.
was the real, took 2 years. We were nervous about finding someone, and honestly, it was the first person we tried.
That's
And,
amazing.
Yeah, Dan's the first guy we tried, and he was a fan and a mutual friend, of ours, and we were like, yeah, okay, he could try out, and he played it. We were like, all right, that's it, you're in it. And he could play guitar too, so now we can have parts where there's 2 guitars.
Sweet.
Nick can play guitar too, so we can have 3 guitars if we want. in a
Awesome.
part. Yeah, it's great. So and Dan also writes a lot more, I think, than our old bassist, and he's, so he's better creatively, better musically, he's a better player, and more well-rounded, stylistically, and he's a much better person. That's the most important thing. So, yeah, that old guy, I mean, I'm done with that dude.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had it with him.
Okay.
I've had it up to here. I mean, it's been a few years, but I'm still kind of crazy over that shit, It's like a
Okay.
relationship
Right.
when you're in a band. So, there was some personal stuff I went through with some family members. One family member passed away, a close relative, my aunt, and that took about a year, maybe a year and a half to get through, where I just couldn't really do anything.
Really?
And all the guys were really understanding. They were really nice, and because she lived in the same building as me, so it was my mom's sister.
Right.
So she was kind of like I was an only child, so she was kind of like
I'm
a
an only
sister
child
to
too.
me.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah. I think that's why maybe our parents let us drum, because I know a lot of people that they weren't allowed to drum, and they had siblings.
Right.
Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, fighting over the drums.
Well,
or something.
that and or God forbid that they all want to play drums, and you're listening to three
Yeah.
kids drumming simultaneously.
That's something, yeah.
A
another
family
problem.
of 9 beating on the whole fucking house.
God. Some polyrhythms over there. I'd like to hear it.
Oh God.
One of my first drum sets was from a close family friend that the mom wouldn't let him drum, and she's
Really?
like, nope. So she's like, Larry, he could have it because they knew I was drumming.
So you were given your first drum set?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And my parents always supported me with the drums, which is great. I mean, I think I started naturally when I was like 3 or something, 2 or 3, and like they were like, oh, he should get lessons because I was like setting up pots and pans like a drum set. And
Right.
my dad's like a huge fan of jazz and classical.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't play anything, but he's a huge fan and like knows like everything about all kinds of music. And my mom, has good taste too, and like, they like rock and everything too. So it's like, I guess they just were like really excited to see me drumming. So they took me to get lessons when I was like 4. And
That's
the
amazing.
place was like, we don't teach 4-year-olds. And they're like, oh, just listen to him or something. And they made me play on like a pad. I
Really?
still remember. Yeah, I played on the pad as like a 4-year-old. And they're like, all right.
Really?
We'll take him. Yeah.
How long did you continue taking lessons?
Probably till I was like 15 or so.
Really?
Like till the beginning of high school. And I had like probably 4 teachers over the years.
Yeah.
Like I had one for, every couple of years.
Right.
And I learned all types of stuff like jazz and funk, and I made them teach me rock too.
Right.
It was fun. I made one of my teachers write out all the notes to like beat by beat to Jeremy by Pearl Jam.
That's amazing.
Because I was like obsessed with them
Yeah.
as like a 10-year-old.
Dave Ambrosi is a fucking great drummer.
Oh yeah, and like
badass.
all the fills in Jeremy, like I wanted to know what they were. Like,
He's killer.
and then
Right.
So I was like, all right, you got to write this out for me. And while he was writing it out, he was definitely pissed. He's like, Larry, people don't normally write out beats or the music like this. Like this is just
You could
supposed
listen
be
to it and
played.
learn it, buddy.
And I was like, I need to read it because he's giving me all this other stuff that I have to read. So I'm
Right.
like, why can't I read what I want to read?
Read something
Learn what I
fun.
want. Yeah. So that was funny. I was like 10 probably. But
Wow.
But yeah, so anyway, like my family, they were always really really supportive. They bought me drums over the years. My first real set was like a Premiere that I think they got me when I was like 13.
Wow.
And I used that through high school. And once I joined Cleric, I started using a Pearl set that I like inherited from a friend, actually.
So you've inherited more than one drum set. You realize that's uncommon.
Yeah, it is. It is. I know. It's interesting. It's like my new set is kind of like 3 sets put together. It's really one big Pearl, but it has a little bit of a Yamaha. And there's a Gretsch snare, and the cymbals are all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of like a Frankenstein thing. But yeah, most of it is inherited. Most of the set, the core of the kit that we're using tonight, and we've like been sharing on the tour with Pyron too, which is awesome.
That's killer.
I get to hear it, each night, and I'm like, whoa, the bass drum sounded great tonight. I was like, holy shit, because when I'm up there, it sounds different, when I'm playing,
Exactly.
and you know that. So it's like, and I'll hear the toms out there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, and I'll go to one of the guys in my band. I'm like, dude, it must have been crazy tonight because like imagine this part that's like all toms like that I have. They're hitting it like once or twice. It's like so loud. Oh, it's pretty exciting. So yeah, I like to share my stuff. So I get to hear it.
That's awesome. I'm not opposed to backlining either for that exact same reason.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
But so I have this Pearl set. I never really liked Pearl as a kid. I wasn't a fan, but honestly, over the years, it's like weathered itself into this great sounding drum set.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. And I don't know how that I think that just happens with all equipment. That's why you see guitarists playing like their old guitar, that they've had forever.
Right.
So it's like it's not necessarily new is better.
Yeah.
So sometimes the older sounds better. And it's not because I tune it a certain way or anything. It's just time and like sometimes I'll tune it when it's really loose or something.
Yeah.
And I'll try and get some notes out of it, but I usually just do that for recording,
Right.
not for playing live. And I just like to let it kind of sit, and it sounds better, I think, over the time.
Do you have any snare drums or anything that you had from when you were a little kid? Still?
I probably do somewhere. I probably have some broken cymbals in my room from when I was a kid. I used to break cymbals more, I think, when I was younger.
That's
which
strange.
is interesting. Yeah, I play maybe harder now,
Right.
but I definitely broke cymbals a lot when I was younger. And drum heads. I haven't really broken a drum head or a cymbal in a long time. It's kind of weird. I think I only broke like 1 or 2 sticks on this tour too, and I bring like full packages of sticks because I'm
Right.
just so ready to break sticks. I used to break them all the time, and it's funny. I'm trying to play harder and louder now, so I don't get that really. But.
Right. I guess your form got better along
Maybe,
with increasing volume, which is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really practice, so I use all the time I use with the band is my practice. If I'm jamming with Cleric, or if we're playing a live show,
right,
or we're practicing a song, that's me practicing.
Right.
And like I always hand drum on myself, like
Sure.
I grew up playing like hand drums, like African stuff and Latin stuff, so I'm always kind of practicing on myself, but and everything around me. I just get in trouble.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
All the time. All the time. Well, question going back a tad to when you studied for those 10 years or so, at the point of which I guess you were 15 or so, and you were not taking lessons at that point. Mm-hmm. Who are you listening to that might have had, as a drummer, that had sort of the multi-style assets that were conducive to playing sort of a sort of mixed-matched style similar to what y'all do? Was there any particular drummer or even band or whatever?
Yeah, there were a few. Definitely Tim Alexander from Primus. Yeah. And the first Primus drummer, or I guess second technically. But and then Brain, I really loved.
He was
also.
awesome.
And I feel like I was saying to someone recently, I think like Brain might be even like tighter than Tim Alexander, but Tim Alexander I think is a better musician, like a more well-rounded musician. And that comes into what you were saying about like the style. But Brain has like his own style, and he's like insane. He's totally like the tightest drummer. But yeah, like Tim Alexander, I used to listen to a lot of when I was young, and definitely Danny Carey from Tool. Yeah, I was a huge fan. He's probably my number 2. And then let's see, like Carter Buford from Dave Matthews Band. I used to love.
That guy was awesome. I had his instructional video.
Yeah,
and
it's
I was
a great
tripping
video.
out on that.
Yeah,
shit.
I've seen that video, and it's great.
I bought it on VHS tape. I'm a little older than you. So
I saw the VHS version. But no, that makes sense that you would buy it. I didn't have it. I saw someone who had it. And we were like, oh, my God. We were freaking out. It was my friend Justin, and it was great. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Great. So, yeah, that kind of helped me get into, like, the heavy stuff mixed with the funk, you know, elements, and, like, some nice, pretty stuff. And then over time, you know, I got into heavier stuff, I think. I mean, I was always into, like, alternative music, like Pearl Jam, I mentioned, and Soundgarden and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I love new Pearl Jam because it has Matt Cameron as the drummer. Yeah. And now it's all in odd time signatures and stuff. Right. And most people don't know that. They're like, oh, new Pearl Jam. And I'm like, yeah, it's actually better than old Pearl Jam. Most people don't know that. Their last, like, 5 albums, like, since... maybe 7 albums since 2001. Yeah. Since he joined. Or, like, totally different style. Yeah. But anyway.
I think Binaural was the first one that he was on.
That's it. Yeah. It was, like, Binaural, Riot Act. Right. And then they had,
the
like...
self-titled one. That one, it might be my favorite of all of them that he's actually on. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, it's great. And then, like, Backspace or Lightning Bolt. It's like, all right. It's too good. Like, they're all good. And I've seen them live, and, you know, he's crazy live. They're great live.
That's awesome you've seen him live.
Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah, and like, luckily they just still do a lot. You can still see Matt Cameron.
I mean, they have so much material. It's just fucking crazy. I mean, I guess we're going to end up talking a lot about Pearl Jam, but actually the Yield record with Jack Irons on it is one that I really fucking dig as well.
I love that too. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I love it. It's funny. I love all of their stuff. I think it took me a few years to get into certain ones. Like,
for sure, for me.
Like certain stuff I had to realize later was good. Yield was one of those. That I liked it when it came out, but I started to love it like years later. Yeah, when I got a little older, and the new stuff, it's like, it's different. It's like folk mixed with like punk rock. Like whenever it's heavy, it's like punk kind of, and like then it's like this folk stuff that's like almost Pink Floyd mixed with Neil Young. And like, it's weird. Yeah, it's really cool, and it's like their norm is not to play in 4. It's definitely other time signatures.
For sure,
it's pretty cool. Yeah, and like, you know, like Radiohead, they do that too. They like sneak in the odd time signatures in like a mainstream style. I love that. So I've always loved Radiohead and Pearl Jam. But I was gonna say I got into Candiria. Their drummer, it was a big influence.
Ken Schalk's a bad motherfucker.
Ken Schalk, yeah. During my high school and post-high school years, it was Ken Schalk, and then after that I got into Meshuggah and Tomas Haake, and I was like, all right, whoa. So then that kind of like made me play heavier, I think.
Yeah.
But it was still with the funk that I got from Carter Beauford and Tim Alexander and, maybe some rock from Pearl Jam. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm playing in a new band. Well, it's new for me, but it's Ron Anderson's Pack. And it's like the new iteration of Pack is me on drums and Steve Blanco on bass. And he plays in Imperial Triumphant with Kenny Grahowski.
Yeah.
Another Kenny connection.
Yeah.
And so I've been practicing with that band, and Ron Anderson plays guitar. And it's like the first band that I've done in a long time that actually has rock parts, like just straight up rock, and like funk parts. And I get to actually play beats where the hi-hat's closed.
Yeah.
Because in Cleric, I don't really get to do that.
Interesting.
Because it's never that, it's always too loud that it wouldn't come through.
Yeah.
Like I think in our newer stuff, on Retrocausal, that's one of the differences between Regressions and Retrocausal, is that Retrocausal has more space and more like quiet parts, I think, where I get to actually play like a closed hi-hat and then open it, and you can hear the difference. But I remember all the old stuff is all open hi-hat because I'm trying to match the fucking, the intensity of the other instruments, like the guitar and the bass. That's how it always was with the Regressions music. And that's why that album is a little more like aggressive, and Retro is a little more like dancey even at times and like accessible. But I think it's a little crazier musically, and like
I'd say
it's
so.
still really heavy, but it's like
For sure.
definitely a little more accessible than Regressions, just in that sense.
Yeah.
But there's some closed hi-hat on there.
Oh,
you can
look
tell
at you
people
going,
that.
buddy.
You can tell people, they'll say, "Oh, and there's all this
Congratulations.
screaming on it. I don't think I can take it." And say, "Well, listen, there's some closed hi-hat, so maybe you
Exactly.
can take it." Maybe you just might be able to.
What's
some
up
dancey
with
parts.
Exactly. Speaking of regressions and retrocausal, what's the two references sort of about past with in those titles? Larry, you can only live in the present unless you time travel, and then if you time travel, then it gets real weird.
I might be time traveling.
Would you go to the present or the past if you don't want to go to the future?
I would probably go to the past. Yeah.
Go revisit that?
Yeah. I might
Yeah.
jump to the future once just to check it out real fast and then jump back.
All the movies are just terrible when
yeah,
they foreshadow the future. It's always shit. It's like, it's a good thing we were all talking about whose shit sandwich was worse, and then we all end up inevitably eating the same giant shit sandwich.
Yeah, pretty much.
And fucking dying.
Yep, pretty much.
Congratulations, human race.
Oh, man. That's so great. Yeah. It's pretty much everyone. So it's like, that's why I don't get the people that are like trying to like find like, AI, like, they're trying to make AI like real. And I'm like, haven't you seen a movie? It's like, come on, what's going on? It's like they're really trying to do it.
Yeah.
It's great. Like Shiva Singularity, where the computer is smarter than us. It's like,
Right.
Even Stephen Hawking said that would lead to like the end. So
Yeah.
I'm a huge sci-fi fan, though.
Are
I'll
you?
tell you that? Yeah.
You're a big sci-fi guy?
Yeah, I think a lot of metal people are like a little nerdy. And
For sure.
We've been talking about that on the road
Yeah.
with the Pyron guys, and my stuff is like kind of sci-fi.
Well, I think the
I'm into
more
that.
the technical the music is, I think that there's
Yeah.
a nerd element.
Yeah,
So I don't know
yeah,
if like
yeah.
hardcore dudes
That's right.
are
That's the
necessarily
difference.
geeking out on
That's
sci-fi.
totally
but
the
I can see how
difference.
your band would.
Yeah. We're into some weird stuff. We're a little weird. Yeah, we're funny dudes. Yeah, I'm like one thing I could say is like a lot of times we'll find themes in the words or in the song titles or all kinds of stuff that's related to the music, and like it'll be after the fact, and we'll realize there's like a theme that makes sense, there's a meaning in there, and it's nice. It was kind of after the fact. Like even our name kind of had more meaning after we chose it.
Right.
Than when we did choose it. It was a little random when we chose it. And
Yeah.
it was based on like a more impulsive idea why we liked it. It's from a movie, actually. We were just inspired by a Christian Bale movie. I don't know if you've seen Equilibrium.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's called the Cleric in it.
Oh, no shit, he
That's
is.
his title.
Ah, that's where it came from, really.
That's where it came from, yeah. So some people think it's like D&D or like
Right.
a religious thing, and it's like, it could mean anything, and that's what they did in the movie. They used it as like the law enforcement for like wiping out anyone who's feeling, because it's
Oh.
outlawed in the movie, you know?
Right.
And they also destroy all the art. Anything that could make someone feel an emotional response, they like burn it and they
Right.
kill the people that are feeling. So it's like, and then he basically wakes up by not taking the drug one day by accident.
Right.
And then
I gotta
then
revisit
he like
this
wakes
fucking
everyone up kind of, and it's like a 1984 kind of
Yeah.
like dystopian future thing mixed with like Matrix kind of action.
Uh-huh.
And it has like a cult following, that movie, I think. And I saw it on DVD, and and we saw it as a band, I guess, and we loved it, like, you know, and we had to change our name at a certain point when we were changing our style in like 2003 or 2004. We used to be more of like a metal band from 2001 to 2003. It was like metalcore, and we had a different name. So then at that time, actually, maybe it is now. It is now for me somewhere. I'm still there. So that me is deciding with the guys. First, he's yelling at them, why would we change our name and lose any fans? And they're like, the fans are going to get it. And I'm like, all right, fine. And I accepted it. And we batted around a bunch of weird names. And we settled on Cleric. And then later on, we were like, oh, it's kind of cool because, you know, he's like showing people how they could be, and like our music is showing people like you don't have to make a song with like a normal structure or like normal time signature or even like tempo that stays the same.
It's quite a multifaceted name with a lot of depth here.
Yeah, it has a lot of depth, even though we didn't mean for it to. And I think that's how things work. You know, things are like random, and then the meaning is like applied afterwards. We apply the meaning to it, and it's like that's kind of what retrocausal means. It means that the present is caused by like the future a little bit, or at least influenced by the future a little bit, as well as the past, or in addition to the past, obviously. Yes. Past and the present are influencing the present, and the future is influencing it a little bit, making things happen. It's kind of like, oh, we were supposed to pick Cleric because it meant that stuff. We didn't even know what it meant at the time, but we were just like, oh, we like that movie. It's so fucking awesome, man. He's the best. He's so badass. He kills everyone. He kills like 200 people in it. We counted one time. We were like, he kills like 225 people. And that's not counting like, you know, exploding buildings. We're like, we know there's 10 guys that just went down. They just got killed. Like me and my singer, Nick, we were, oh man, we were like obsessed with it.
So you've been doing this band in various forms for 17 years?
Yeah, since 2001.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
What the fuck?
Well, that was like the hiatus was like there was a point when Matt called me and he was like, dude, we gotta like save the band, man. I don't know what to do. Like, I can't. Nick won't like talk to me. Like, he doesn't even like music as much anymore. And like, yeah, and there was a point where Matt was like, we gotta figure this out. And I basically said, you know, I think we have to switch up the lineup if I'm gonna take the band seriously. Otherwise, I could still do it, but I can't take it as seriously.
Right.
And that's when we just decided we had to change it, and that's why it's lasted so long. And there's been a few times where it almost didn't exist, the band. And people would ask like if we're still a band, and we're like, yeah, we're just not doing stuff. You know, we need some time. But yeah. So, but I wanted to answer the one thing. One thing I just realized, I might have realized it once before. Maybe I'm realizing it again. But we
should smoke more weed.
I should definitely eat some more weed chocolate. I've been eating a lot of that recently, and playing shows on it is great.
That's amazing. And, you can actually play shows on weed chocolates?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, not apparently, yeah. I tried it on this tour. I tried.
What?
In
you
Toronto.
figured just give it a shot, like at a show?
Yeah. Well, yeah, kinda. Well, I kind of had to do it the first time. The first time I did it, it was in Canada, and we were crossing the border. So everything I bought, we were trying to get rid of. You know.
Oh.
So I had a lot of edibles left. I had some CBD because I have like Crohn's disease, and then I also had some THC. You know?
Oh shit!
Oh yeah, and that's definitely one of the reasons I write the kind of stuff I do and play the way I do is from being sick and angry that I'm sick.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah, so I smoke a lot of weed for being sick. It helps. It definitely helps with the Crohn's, and like the CBD was really good for it. And you know, I can't get it in New York really. I mean, I can now, but I couldn't for a long time.
Yeah.
So it was nice just to be able to get it, and you know. I like that New York has medical too. But anyway,
fuck yeah.
I was like, yeah, so I had all this leftover edibles and THC ones, and I'm like, all right, it's time to get rid of them. Who wants one? Who wants two for the cause? And I'm like giving them to Matt and Dan. It's like, oh, I have another one. Come on, live a little. And like, I had to eat like 12 of them. And I think they
What?
were like 5 milligrams apiece.
Did you not get fucking zonked?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I was wrecked. Yeah.
Did
and
you have to play that night?
Yeah. So I played that show, and like that was the one show that like it was a great show, and like I was like, oh, I felt it like in my arms, like I felt like I had Popeye arms or something, like they were all fat,
Yeah.
like in my forearms. But like I was able to do it, and like the tempos were good. Like we listened to it, and everything's good.
What the fuck did you
And,
remember all those parts? I would have felt like I
oh,
got
yeah.
lost in space.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't eat them right
like,
before the show.
20-minute
earlier.
songs.
Yeah, I ate them earlier in the day, so I guess I had some time to get used to it.
Holy
And then I was
shit.
in my own element because I'm used to being high when I play shows. I always get high before I play.
Do you?
because, Yeah,
You've always been able to
feel-
pull that off.
Yeah, because I feel better when I'm playing, for one thing. I don't like to think when I'm drumming in a show. I like to just feel everything.
Yeah.
So if I start to think, I literally will, in the moment, be like, did I get that hit right? Am I rushing it? Is
Yeah.
it a little too slow? I don't know. I start to think all kinds of shit, and then I miss the next hit, or I fuck up
Exactly.
and I flub something in some
Right.
stupid way. But if I'm just feeling it, I'll just nail each thing.
Huh.
And I might still make a flub or something,
Right.
but that's just gonna happen. Sometimes I hit my hand on the snare drum, and
Right.
it doesn't hit. I don't have that snare hit in there, and I get so angry.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? It's pretty funny. I get angry when I'm playing. It's like a different personality like comes out. It's like, how could that have been off? Motherfucker! And like
Right.
afterwards, I'm just laughing. Everything's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's fine. But yeah, so yeah, I always get high, so I don't have to think when I'm playing, and I can just feel it. And the thing is, I've done both, so I know the difference. And I played a show with Mel Banana once where I didn't smoke. And
Really?
the whole time I was thinking, like, oh my God, am I fucking on the beat? Like, I think I'm a little rushing it. I don't know. Is it the right tempo? There was like one kid I knew in the crowd who was like a drummer who had recorded us before, and I was like, oh, he's gonna know. He's gonna know if I fuck up. Mel Banana's gonna know.
Oh, man.
So he was crazy.
Having
so
a
I was like,
neurotic
fuck
meltdown,
that.
man.
Yeah, man. I'm not into it. So so
Ever since then,
anyway,
you're like, I'm smoking fucking weed.
yeah, I'm smoking before the show. It's funny because I met Tim Alexander. He said he can't smoke before, he smokes after. And I was like, oh man, I gotta smoke before. And he's like, we're like the same but in opposite ways.
That's amazing. I
And,
met Tim Alexander as well. I met him in
Really?
the airport just
Oh,
randomly.
wow. Really?
He was
That's
super
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, he was so nice. When
He's
I
the
met him.
nicest guy.
That's so cool. Yeah, I just like snuck backstage at like a Primus show. And, like,
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got some help from like a crew guy. But yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
used to do that all the time as a kid, man. That's probably why I was able to run up to Zorn. To
Right.
be honest, is because I like used to just like sneak backstage at shows or like find my way to officially get backstage somehow.
What are some other shows that you've done that to?
Oh man, as a kid,
Yeah.
I went to see Incubus and like System of a Down, and I got to meet.
I
them
remember
and
when
hang
those
out with
two
them.
toured together.
Oh yeah, I got to hang out with them, and that was I went to that Snowcore show with Nick, so I actually got to. That's when we saw Mr. Bungle live. That's the only time we got to see Mr. Bungle, who's a
saw him
huge
twice.
influence on us. Yeah, we only really got into them right at the California tour.
Yeah.
and got to see them on that tour, and
I saw them that tour
it was
as well.
great. And
it was
yeah,
one of the best shows I've ever seen.
One of the best. One of the best. One of the loudest and one of the best.
incredible.
It was unbelievable.
Fucking incredible. Danny
And-
Heifetz is a drummer, by the way.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That fucking guy.
Oh yeah, and
Whoa.
I think Ches Smith was doing percussion at the time.
Really?
Which is so funny because we'll hang out with him when he's doing Secret Chief stuff. We're like, yeah, we saw you, man. We were kids and we were terrified because he was dressed like a chef.
Right.
Like Patton was dressed as like a cowboy, like a psycho cowboy. He's like
Yes.
jumping around. It was scary, man. And I remember us thinking, like, the next night, because we saw him 2 nights in a row, the second night, Patton was wearing a sailor outfit, like a little sailor cap.
That's hilarious.
We're like, that's not as scary as the cowboy. Man.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
was much scarier last night. So it's kind of funny that, like, a lot of stuff came full circle. Like, we were always into that kind of stuff, Bungle and everything, and then we ended up on Web of Mimicry, kind of
Yeah.
like just by happenstance, just by things happening, And
Interesting.
and then in the end, it's like that's why we're into that retrocausal stuff. We think it's like it's a scientific way of looking at things. Maybe have a meaning to them or a pattern.
Uh-huh.
And we notice it sometimes. It's not always delusional. Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
But that's a real thing. Like what is it? Confirmation bias or something.
Yes.
Yeah. I know about that. I'm a fan of it. I'm a big fan. Like my lucky number, I see it everywhere. So I know how it works.
Right.
That's all really also influenced by The Dark Tower by Stephen King.
Okay.
Which is one of the reasons each album title has an RE at the beginning.
Oh, interesting.
But that also happened by accident. Afterwards, I realized that's awesome. That there's a little theme there.
Yeah.
Because
buried in your unconscious.
Yeah, we're all kind of
Acting its
huge
way out.
Dark Tower fans.
Yeah.
And each book has a subtitle that starts with RE.
Oh,
and
interesting.
we just wanted it to be called Retrocausal.
Yeah.
Nick actually coined the phrase because I wanted to be something with retrocausality. And Nick was like, "How about retrocausal?" And I'm like, "All right, that's it. That has to be it."
Yeah, it's good. I
jumped
like it.
on that. Yeah.
I like
So
it.
and but yeah. So it was like kind of a happy accident that both ones have that RE and and the backwards thing too. Like you asked about that, the regressions thing.
Yeah.
Just felt like the music at the time. Like we were trying to express what we were
Yeah.
holding back for a little while. And the retrocausal thing is like everything we've been through in the last few years and like why it sounds the way it does might have all the meanings applied later.
Nice.
It's kind of like a Zen thing too, because we learned about that on the tour. How it's like a lot of Zen stuff is kind of like a joke. Then it doesn't really have that much meaning. And then at the end you apply the meaning to it. It's like a brain exercise. We learned that from Seven Sons. They have some
cool.
Chinese members. Yeah.
Nice.
Learned some cool stuff from them.
Speaking of Retrocausal, man, I'm excited to hear some of these jams tonight. I'm going to get
thanks,
high.
man.
I need to catch up with you.
Hell yeah, man.
So I'm going to get super baked and
Hell
get
yeah.
sucked into the Cleric vortex
Awesome, man.
of some fucking absurd voyage.
You could eat some of
20
my
minute.
chocolate bar. if
Oh,
you
I
want.
don't know if I'm hardcore enough, dude.
Oh, it's a good chocolate bar. I ate like a third of it because first I did the thing with the gummies. I just had to get rid of these gummies that I had. Right?
Yeah.
And so I played that show. So then I knew I could handle it. So I bought some chocolates from a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
And I in Providence, and I was like, oh, let me try this. And they said if you eat a third, you're gonna be pretty fucked up. I was
Oh,
like,
boy.
okay. So I'm like, really? I've never really experienced that where you're like just wrecked from like one little thing. I've eaten full chocolate bars that were
Right.
like expensive. I got fucked up, but not like destroyed. I'm like, part of me wants to kind of know what that was. I think so.
Maybe not on a gig.
I know. Well, I figured,
Just
I
that's-
could do it because the other day I ate so much. I'm not gonna eat that much. The other day I ate like 60 milligrams. So I get this chocolate bar and I eat a third of it, right?
Yeah.
And then my singer goes, Larry, you just ate like the same amount that you ate the other day. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I was like, oh, I know that's my limit because I
Right.
felt it in my arms during the show. And he's like, yeah, look at the number on there. And it was like 193. So I ate a third of it. So it was
Wow.
like about 64 or something.
I don't know.
And I
I
was
don't
like,
know what all the
oh,
grams
here we
work out
go. Here we go. So it was basically the same amount and in chocolate, though. And now I still have another half. And yeah.
All right, maybe I'll try some
I'll
of your
eat it
chocolate
over
bar.
time. Okay,
Yeah, a little
awesome, dude.
piece.
Yeah.
All
Live a
right,
little.
let's do it.
You got it.
We're partying.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Good
Awesome.
talking to you, Larry.
Dude, great talking to you. Great to meet you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Crash Bang Boom podcast. It was a good talk and hang, and I really had my mind blown seeing Cleric at St. Vitus playing a lot of material off of their most recent Retrocausal and some other stuff and just all kinds of madness. If you haven't seen them, you got to see that band. They're just ridiculous live. Next week episode will be Matt Bowles of Byzantine. Had a great talk with him and saw an awesome show with them doing some serious thrashing, brah. So stick around for that one. Thanks for sticking around through this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Crash, bang, boom.